Hello everybody, this is Robert Kennedy coming to you from the MCA National Follow the Yellow Brick Road in Kansas City. When Mustang debuted in 1964, it was a small coupe powered by straight six-cylinder engines and a 260 cubic inch small block V8. By the early 1970s, it was roughly a foot, maybe a foot and a half longer. It was hundreds of pounds heavier and had as large as a 429 cubic inch Cobra jet big block V8. By the late 70s and early 80s though, Mustang looked very, very different. The round headlights were gone, we had square ones, the side scoops were gone, the tri-bar taillights were gone. And while this GT, in fact, has the 5-liter high-output V8, many others were actually powered by not only turbocharged 4 cylinders, but naturally aspirated 4 cylinders. So what the heck happened that we went from the big V8 in the big car to this radically different design? The Mustang II is what happened. That's what bridges the gap between the big ones and the Fox bodies. So I'm outside now at the MCA National, which also happens to be the Mustang II National Reunion VI. And I've got a good friend here, John Clor, the Enthusiast Communications Manager from Ford Performance here, to help me tell you a little bit more about them.
Hey, Robert, check this out. A 74 Mustang II here in Kansas City. Follow the Yellow Brick Road car show. MCA National, and what do we find here? Isn't that amazing? Yeah, you find John Clor, the Enthusiast Marketing Manager of Ford Performance. But doing communications for Ford Performance is different than seeing cars like this. This is why we're here. This is what it's about. Second gen, baby. 6th annual Mustang II Reunion. Who'd ever thunk it? 6 years after the big national show at Ford World Headquarters, we're back here having fun. Yeah, the 74 is special. You think about why we changed it. Boy, by 73, everybody was ditching their big, huge horses and parking them in the barns with big V8s. We had Mustang IIs because we had Pintos and Vegas and Gremlins, oh my. We had Toyota Corollas and Datsun B210s. You cared about MPG, not about HP. And this little baby, she's made it all these years. 74 was a huge year, car of the year. Really, car of the year? It's a Mustang II. And that year, well, 380,000 people bought this car. It was the second best-selling Mustang in the history of the car at the time, as opposed to the originals in 66 and 65. Super popular. And yet, for some reason, enthusiasts didn't embrace it because of the era, because of the EPA laws and emissions controls and horsepower. But it was about quality build, and it was about looks, and it was about being the right car for the right time. That's what this little 74 was. The only bummer was no V8. Well, we changed that by 75 for sure. But so great to see a 74. Let's go find a 75. Well, by 1975, Ford's Team Mustang sure learned the lesson. You got to put that V8 back in it. And by God, they did it. You notice the header panel is a lot more narrow and have room for this V8 and the bigger radiator, but 302 with AC. This little Ghia luxury version, man, someone set the world on fire. Luxury little car, outsold all of the other luxury compact makes on the planet, and very, very classy. Beautiful interior, nice fit and finish. This little 75 example is a Ghia. Even has the luggage rack on the back. As Lee Iacocca once said, you know, he wanted to build Mustang as a poor man's Thunderbird. Well, this little baby car had all of the luxury you want, and at the same time, the power of a 302. And boy, did that make a difference in 1975. People were clamoring for it. Now, did it have all the horsepower? No, we still had to work on the emissions, but it had the torque. And everybody knows that a 5-liter Ford is a small block Ford. And anything you want to do to that thing to make it fast, it's all of it available in the Ford Racing catalog. Very nice little Ghia. But you know what? By 76, just having a V8 wasn't enough. It came time for some specialty models, and we got a few of them. Well, I'll tell you what, I wish I was around in 76 to buy myself two of the competing cars that Ford made. Ford division wanted to do their own in-house specialty model called the Stallion. They were going to do a Mustang II Stallion, a Maverick Stallion, and a Pinto Stallion. Edsel Ford, on the other hand, was friends with Carroll Shelby. He didn't think this Stallion was going to be enough. So he talked to his friend Jim Wanger, who owned a specialty company in Detroit, and he said, I want to do something on the Cobra. They actually talked to Carroll Shelby and got permission to do his Le Mans stripes. So in 76, Ford division said, Edsel, no one's going to buy your Cobra, they're going to buy the Stallion. And Edsel said, that's fine, we'll do a small run of those, I'm good with it. What happened? They both came out. The Stallion came out with a triple dealer program, all three cars had Stallion packages, and people were ordering them, but did it set the world on fire? No. What did set the world on fire was the Cobra II was actually produced because they gave it to a Hollywood star. Her name was Farrah Fawcett Majors, and on Thursday night, 60 million people tuned in every night to watch the #1 show on television. And Farrah drove a 1976 Cobra II just like this, white with blue, and oh my gosh, when the world saw that car, they wanted one. So the Stallion mechanically was very similar. You can get the V8 in it, you can get the V8 in the Cobra II, you could also get the 6, but the deal was, it looks like people wanted the nostalgia brought forth by the Cobra II really made it happen. So you could say what you will, did Farrah sell the car or did the look sell the car? I mean, you be the judge of that. Carroll Shelby himself allowed the use of the name, and with the Le Mans stripes, this car is a head turner no matter if it's 50 years later or not. 1976 was a big year, so and it turns out that Edsel Ford II, his idea, and the Cobra lane outsold the Stallion. Sorry, Ford division, sometimes enthusiasts kind of get it right. Well, there was one other car that they sold. It was the 76 Cobra II in the opposite color combination, blue with white stripes. Super rare. If you see this at a car show, go up to him and shake his hand, because that's that guy that didn't want to have Farrah's car, but loved the Cobra II. Last year for the Motortown Cobras, the cars that were converted for Ford, so popular. Thursday night, 60 million people watched Charlie's Angels and Farrah and the Mustang IIs and the Pintos that were on that show. 25,000 orders for the Mustang II Cobra II. The Stallion was left in the dust, and these cars became so popular that by 1977, Ford took the whole program in-house. So that's what we're going to be looking at here. This is a 1977 Cobra II. Ford brought the entire program into Dearborn and San Jose Assembly to do these cars in-house because there were just too many orders after the popularity of the 76 Cobra II. Difference is in 77 we added some colors. No more blue with white, but all the white cars had either red stripe, blue stripe, or can you believe it, a green stripe. Very rare to see a green stripe 77 Cobra II. These cars were super popular. You could option different wheels. This one has these optional lacy spokes. You might recall these wheels were the ones that used later on the King Cobra. And by 77 and a half, the T-top convertible was brought in. A company in Michigan went to Ford with the idea. They wanted to do the conversions, but Ford said, we can do that in-house. And about halfway through the model year, these cars were very popular to get the T-roof option. Very expensive, but for a lot of people, actually they enjoyed it because they missed their Mustang convertibles. One little side note about the 77s, and that is there was another specialty model they called the Rally Mustangs. They looked very much completely painted free, but they had special gold pinstriping all around the car. I mean, every body line, and they had a special unique inserted interior for cloth inserts. You don't really see those at all, but next year, that will be the celebrated car at Mustang II Reunion VII. And you'll have to, you guys with the Billboard Cobras, you'll have to wait till Mustang II Reunion VIII in the following year for that one. But yeah, very special car. In this particular example, super beautiful. This Mustang II owners absolutely love their cars. This original owner actually brought this here today. And what did we wind up in 78? Well, we not only had the King Cobra, we had the Cobra II as a billboard car, which they changed the stripes, more of the disco era. And we'll see a billboard car or two here today. But the finale, the exclamation point, if you will, was the 1978 King Cobra. This car was a direct response to Smokey and the Bandit's Trans Am. You'll notice the wheel spats, the front air dams, totally different than a Mustang II Cobra II. Also, the hood scoop was reversed, much like the Trans Am. And for the first time in Ford history, a 5.0 was put on the Mustang. You'll see it on the hood scoop, because yeah, this was the 302. You know, people make a lot of talk about the horsepower of these cars. They think the Mustang II is the lowest horsepower of any era, and that's not true. Actually, it was the next generation, the Fox bodies, the earlier Fox bodies where they took the 302 and made it down to a 255. Those were the lowest horsepower Mustangs of all time. This car, you know, when you only make slightly more than 4,000 cars, you know they're going to be super rare. And at this year's show, we have two of the rarest. We have the orange King Cobra and the yellow King Cobra. One about 140 examples, and the yellow, man, I'm telling you, 120 cars built in the whole year. Very, very cool. So when you walk the show at a Mustang II Reunion, you get to see Ford's history in the making, the car that bridged that gap and got us into the Fox body era. Fox body is a whole nother story. It lasted 5 years too long, but we did save it again in '94 with the SN95, and of course the last two generations smash hits. It never would have happened without Lee Iacocca's little jewel, the Mustang II. Thanks for joining us. Let's listen to what Robert has to say about the rest of these great cars.
All right, thank you, John. Okay, so in addition to the regular production models, 74 through 78, there are also a number of special editions, including the 1977 Mustang II Classic II convertibles. Anybody that's subscribed to this channel has already seen this with the top down. Really, that's the most significant thing about the convertible. Underneath there's additional chassis bracing and whatnot, but we're not going to go underneath the car here at the show. So let's go take a look at another from 1977. About the only Mustang II more rare than a convertible are the Monroe handlers. There was a steel-bodied original prototype done for Hot Rod magazine, and then a small series of 6 fiberglass reproductions. This being one of the originals, which is actually still owned by the original family that won the car. These were all won, not purchased, as they had to actually delete the federally mandated safety bumpers in the conversion process with the fiberglass kit. An interesting note, with real Monroe handlers, you'll note that the engine compartments do not match the yellow exterior. That is because these came off the production line as white 2+2 fastbacks rather than yellow, and then all the paint and decals were hand painted in preparation. So that kind of wraps up our summary comparison of all of the actual production Mustang IIs over the years. Since then, of course, we have lots of owners that have done very nice resto mods or full modifications of cars, like this beautiful King Cobra here, outfitted with some amazing new wheels, brakes, fabulous paint, racing seats, all sorts of nice custom touches. So thought I'd throw that in. We are wrapping up day 3 of the big MCA National Follow the Yellow Brick Road and Mustang II Reunion VI. The pace was very fast. For those of you that may have seen my previous video promising a hopeful Mach 1 comparison as well, we did try to film it, but between the extreme heat, unexpected rain, and a variety of other complications, that just wasn't to be, so we'll have to try and shoot that some other time. But thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more updates as we lead up to my Unbridled: The Passion, Performance, and Politics Behind America's Favorite Pony Car book, hopefully out in the fall of '22. We'll see you later.